600,000 prisoners are released from prison every year. And all we talk about is the recidivism rate, highlighting failures. But this is a new time now. It's time to celebrate. Time to admire. Time to honor those who got out of prison and never looked back, doing something with themselves and their lives while giving back. This is the reentry return. I am your host, Cornell Sims.
All right. Man, we are back with another episode of the Reentry Journey. I am your host, Cardell Sims. Let's go ahead and do it. So, yeah, I am your host, Cardell Sims. We got a new episode of the Reentry Journey. I would just like to thank everybody that's tuning in tonight. And our guest tonight, there's so much. First of all, man, before I bring our guests in the picture, I just want to say, I do on the inside. This person does inside out, and the amazing work and amazing things that this person has accomplished in their journey and their position or where they at in life. And not just that, just their whole mindset, their whole mentality, this person's whole peace, this whole calmness that they have about themselves. We met similar walks of life, and this person has not only been giving me advice over the past month, but has been kind of like a mentor slash counselor. He kind of keeps me at ease when we meet. We do exercises. He helps me calm myself down. He helps me get focused and locked in at what we're talking about and in this present moment of life, and always remind me to not leave the present moment, never neglect the present moment. Doing amazing work. So I want to bring our guests on. Our guest today is Mr. Stephen Matthew Clark. Welcome to the Reentry Journey, man. I'm really happy to have you on the Reentry Journey to share your story, to share what you're doing, to share the trends, and to said people don't understand. And hopefully, after this podcast, they will understand the importance of the work you do and the trend that you're setting. Welcome to the Reentry Journey podcast.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm grateful that you invited me on today, Cardell. I guess what I'd like to ask is everybody that's here listening, if you could, in the chat, maybe just go ahead and put in the chat box your name and maybe where you're setting and watching this podcast. That would be excellent, just so we get an idea of who's on with us and who's joining us today.
And before we go on, my apologies for us being late. Mr. Clark had nothing to do with it. It was me personally. I'm an accountability person, so I will take accountability for that. No excuses, no matter what happened. I should have been prepared and ready on time, but we're here now, and I'm excited. So, who do we have in the building with us tonight? We got Oceanside, California. Ashley's from Oceanside, California.
Maryland, beautiful.
Maryland, yeah.
Columbus, Ohio.
Bonus.
Lincoln, Maine. All right. Yeah, so the idea is just Atlanta. April Thomas, she's everywhere. I'll tell you, that lady's everywhere, and she's amazing. The idea is, one of the things I just want to say coming into this podcast and thanking you for the space that you're giving me, I'm realizing more and more and more in my journey that this isn't an individual approach. This is a collective approach. And by me showing up here today with you, it's two of us coming together, but there's other people that are involved now. There's 12 or 13 that are also joining in with us. So I really feel it's important to honor everybody that's part of this call. It's not just about me, right? It's not just about you, Cardell. It's about all of us coming together here today. And maybe me being able to share a little bit of insight of the work that we're doing here at the Maine State Prison, in the work that we're doing to try to elevate and awaken the consciousness of everybody that has anything to do with the system of mass incarceration at all. So thank you all. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for taking your time to be here with us tonight. I just want to name that. So thank you, Cardell.
Thank you. So who is Mr. Stephen Matthew Clark for the people that's tuning in right now? Let them know about you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. So first of all, my name is, like you said, Stephen Matthew Clark. I am a person that's been on a long-term and I think a long journey of self-transformation and understanding myself better and becoming a better version of myself. I've spent the past 18 years incarcerated in a maximum security prison, and that's where I'm at now in the state of Maine. And when I arrived at prison 18 years ago, I knew I needed to take significant responsibility for the actions and the choices that brought me here. And one of the things that I knew I needed to do was reach out and find some help. I had grown up in a very machismo world where there was a lot of toxic masculinity. And if I had reached my hand out for help, it would have been considered something as weak. So for me, Stephen Matthew Clark, he had to really practice radical humility getting to the prison to reach out and ask for some support and help. And what Stephen Matthew Clark found when I got here was reaching out for help, my hand got slapped away. And I remember I reached out, Cardell. I was struggling with substance abuse and mental health. Of course, coming into prison, most of us are struggling with those two things. And they sent me back in the mail a small piece of paper. It was about the size of a half of an envelope. And that piece of paper said, when you have 2 years or less left on your sentence, please reapply. And I remember the motivation that actually caused within me. First of all, it infuriated me that I finally was able to humble myself and reach out for help. But then they had the audacity to send me back this small piece of paper that told me I had to wait. I have a 43-year sentence. So what they were basically saying is I had to wait 41 years to get services or get treatment.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was one of the greatest gifts I received coming here. And what I mean by that is simply this. I knew that I needed to transform within, and I knew I needed to understand myself better and take significant responsibility for those choices. And why that was really a brilliant piece of paper is because what that encouraged me to do was immediately get involved with the education department here at the prison. So a friend of mine, he had a stack of books in the corner of his cell, and some of them were on mental health counseling, substance abuse counseling. And I said, you know what, this is my path. This is where I'm going. So for the past 18 years, I've been involved with education. I've acquired my associate's degree. I've acquired 2 bachelor's degrees. I'm a certified substance abuse mental health rehabilitation technician. I'm a certified mental health rehabilitation technician community. I'm also a certified and trained hospice worker, a personal support specialist. I have my recovery coach certification. In fact, I went in and obtained that twice with a peer support specialist certification. I went and earned my 200-hour yoga certification with several mindfulness certifications, mindful integrative cognitive behavioral therapy, my good friend Shinzen Young's Unified Mindfulness program. I'm certified through them. And in addition, I'm also certified in basic MMQ, which just basic movements of Qigong. So all these different practices and these modalities of what I'm learning, I've taken with me to where I'm at right now, which Stephen Matthew Clark, I'm currently in graduate school studying positive psychology. I'm studying coaching. I'm studying positive organizational scholarship. I'll be graduating here in the spring and starting my journey with a PhD from a maximum security prison in the summertime. And that's a small piece of Stephen Matthew Clark. The other piece of me is I'm a son, I'm a brother, I'm a man with a big, big heart. I love people. I want to give back and be of service to others around me. Now that I've reached a little bit of a degree of enlightenment, I feel that it's my position to give back and to give that back to others that are in the prison system that are also reaching out to the substance abuse department, getting that small piece of paper back.
Right. And so, every time we talk, we always do some form of exercise or something to keep us into the now. I'm giving you the opportunity with those tuned in right now to let's do one of them exercises, because I really want the people tuned in to understand the magnitude of what you really do and your potential and how you do it, even though we just getting in the beginning of the interview. But I think that'd be a good way to get them involved.
I love that. Yeah. So in the chat room, if you can, go ahead and just maybe put, if like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being completely present and 1 being you're maybe a little bit distracted with things that you have going on, and it's okay if you're distracted. If you could just go ahead and throw in a number. 1 is you're really, really distracted. 10 is you are completely present right now. So maybe in the chat room, just put in whether you're present or maybe you're just a little bit distracted. Well, I don't see very many numbers coming in, so I'll just take that as everybody's just
I
sitting back.
think that'd be coming in, and it's kind of like a little delay, a little bit.
That's okay.
So we got a 6.
We got a 6. So what I'd like to offer everybody, I'm just going to go ahead and we get a couple 7s, 6, 7, 7. Beautiful. I'm going to offer everybody just the opportunity to find a comfortable seat. So I'll go ahead and just give you a couple moments, because if you're roaming around or if you're driving, please just keep your eyes open by all means. Definitely keep your eyes open. But if you're at home, if you can just take a moment to sit down and allow both of your feet to touch
about
the
3. We got 3, 4 10s.
Yeah, we got a few 10s, so we got some presence in the room. So both your feet on the floor. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Bullock. And thank you, Mary. Thank you, Sheila. So with both of your feet on the floor, go ahead and just sit down and stretch up, pulling the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. And if you feel comfortable wherever you're at, providing you're not driving, I welcome you to close your eyes and just take a nice deep inhale through your nose, really filling up your lungs. Exhale through your mouth, nice and slow, just letting it all go. We're going to do a couple more of those. Nice deep inhale through the nose, really filling up the lungs. Exhaling through the mouth, just letting it all go. And then one more nice deep inhale through the nose, really filling up the lungs. Exhaling through the mouth, just letting it all go. Just bring the breathing to normal now, in and out of the nose. And I just welcome you to take a moment to reflect on where your feet are touching the floor, where your set bones are making contact with the chair, maybe where your chair is touching your back. Just take note of that. And bring your attention all the way up to your nostrils, where the air is entering and exiting the body. And just notice the temperature of breath as you inhale. And notice the temperature of breath as you exhale. Maybe you noticed it warmed up just a little bit. Maybe it got a little bit cooler. And the magic here is just taking nice deep inhales, really drawing those lungs all the way down towards where your set bones make contact with the chair on the inhale. And then on the exhale, really allowing those lungs to come all the way up towards your shoulder blades. And what I'd like to do is just guide us all into a little bit of a meta meditation. And a metta meditation is a loving kindness meditation where we're just going to send some good energy out for one another. So with your feet firmly planted on the floor, with your breath strong, inhaling and exhaling, just bring to attention everybody that's on this call with us right now. Everybody that's taking their time to listen, everybody that's taking their time to tune in, to be supportive. See many of my friends on here that are really behind us, Cardell, with the work that we're doing. I see some new faces. So just bringing each other to mind momentarily. Maybe you can picture somebody's face, what they look like, their features, and inwardly say, may we be happy, may we be safe, may we be at peace. So keeping that breath strong and steady, inwardly say, may we be happy, may we be safe, may we be at peace. And I just welcome you to say that on your own for the next few moments. Just repeat that over and over. May we be happy. May we be safe. May we be at peace. The important thing here is just remembering to breathe, remembering that small little mantra, and just keeping everybody in your consciousness and in your heart as you repeat that. Beautiful. Now, let's just go a little bit deeper and a little bit further. If we think about our whole community of those that are involved with criminal justice and prison reform, let's imagine everybody in our broader community that's all supportive, that's working with one another. It could be professors, it could be students, it could be abolitionists, it could be the commissioner, it could be a warden. Heck, it could be a local police department that's doing the right thing, and it could be our brothers and sisters that are still incarcerated. So let's bring that community into mind. Maybe you're thinking of somebody that's really doing the work, or somebody that's really suffering because they're still locked up in the system. And inwardly say, may you be happy. May you be safe. May you be at peace. So we're sending that out for that one particular person in the community. We're going to do that 2 more times. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you be at peace. Beautiful. And now what we're going to do is we're going to remember the person that we tend to usually always forget about. We're going to remember that person that has their 2 feet on the floor right now and their set bones in the chair. And we're going to bring ourselves to mind. And maybe with your right hand, just bringing your right hand up to your heart for a moment, just to activate your heart. And just taking a couple breaths, breathing in through the heart and exhaling through the heart. Really showing ourselves some self-love and self-compassion. And inwardly saying, may I be happy. May I be safe. May I be at peace. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be at peace. One more time. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be at peace. Beautiful. Lowering your hand down now. And in your consciousness, just for a moment here, just being with that. Again, breathing through the heart. Really just activating your whole system, drawing some presence, and also drawing a little bit of that relaxation response, drawing that in as we continue on with this podcast. Maybe making some subtle movements with your fingers and your toes. And whenever you're ready, just slowly opening your eyes. Thank you. Thank you all for participating in that. I appreciate you very much. Thank you, Cardell. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great and grounded.
Beautiful.
Most definitely. So, the title of this episode is The Awakening, Transforming from the Inside Out. Mm-hmm. Can you go in depth on the awakening?
I'd love to go in depth with awakening, and thank you for the opportunity to bring forth what the awakening is so I can elucidate and just give folks a broader understanding of the work that we're doing. So in graduate school, my capstone project turned into a coaching program for the system of mass incarceration. We have a lot of programs in the system, and a lot of those programs, I think some of the most effective programs are run by peers, people with a lived experience.
Right.
Similar to what AA or NA does, or a lot of the recovery programs, what makes people most effective is that lived experience in the knowledge that they've done the work and transformed their own lives. So motivated and inspired by that, my hope and goal was to create a program that built up emotional intelligence and some of the stuff we've talked about before, really developed that reticular activating system, really brought forth to the consciousness smart goals and visions that we could actually accomplish and obtain, developing soft skills like presence, active listening, body language, boundaries, healthy boundaries, trust, accountability, forgiveness, and then utilizing the International Coaching Federation's framework for coaching. So that's how the program started, and the program, it's been going excellent. We've trained 3 cohorts of men here at the prison. We are at a place right now, we're at full capacity, I think, with the guys, just because where people are at, but all these guys are acquiring jobs in different areas of the prison. For example, one of them's got a job in the mental health unit. One of them now is working in the education department, supporting people with applications for college. One of them is running the recovery coach program in here. So what we're trying to do is create opportunities for other people to be trained helpers where they can be effective. So through my capstone, this is what's cool. So check this out. So through my capstone, I had the opportunity to present the awakening online through the Glen Exchange, which is a beautiful community that I'm part of. So I host the Glen Exchange, and my friend Shinzen Young, who runs Unified Mindfulness, I was invited to the Exchange Approach, which is an online training of how to facilitate utilizing David Cooperrider's appreciative inquiry.
Okay.
And yeah, so the exciting thing that happened, I go through this training and I provide the Glen Exchange, the awakening, what the awakening is. And we had such really positive, wonderful feedback. We had like 60 people that showed up to that episode and to the capstone breakoff. And what happened was something really, really powerful and significant. And let me share what that is with you. So in that meeting, we had break-off rooms, and I was actually involved in a break-off room. And a scholar who's actually a released incarcerated resident, he was an incarcerated experiencer. He's now out in society doing well, going to school. He said to me in the break-off room, he said, "Steve, I've been through a lot of meetings. I've done a lot of different things in my lifetime." He goes, "I've never had an experience like this." He said, "You're sharing knowledge with us, but you're providing us a space to unlock our own wisdom. You're providing us a space to come together and formulate answers together. You're not telling us what to do. You're here guiding us." And a light bulb went off. And that light bulb went off in the essence. I said, I believe that with my whole heart and soul, I'm supposed to be creating a platform to bring people together that are involved in this work of criminal justice, restorative justice, transformative justice, prison abolition, and just overall corrections work, what corrections work really is.
Right.
So for the tagline of the awakening is transforming from the inside out. Yeah. So the idea is we need to do that work within us first. You can't help somebody else if you're not loving yourself and helping yourself first.
Exactly.
So my man, the beautiful gift now is through a lot of prayer, through a lot of meditation. I've had a lot of what I call downloads through source energy. And source energy is saying, you're in the right direction. You're really doing a wonderful job. Your goal now is really to bring people together and utilize your unique circumstances of being in a maximum security prison to allow people to see, hey, people can transform and they're better than the worst choice they've ever made. And now what's happening with the awakening, Cardell, which I'm really excited about, and everybody on this site that you've been part of the awakening, Ashley, Vanessa, Dr. D, I see a few of you on there that have been involved. So, and if I didn't name you, it's not because I didn't recognize you. It's just because there's a lot going on and I'm on a different screen right now. But what I want to say to each and every one of you, the exciting news is I have an opportunity to bring in guests like Commissioner Randy Liberty, who was just our guest. We had 700 people registered for that event. We had over 124 people attending. We brought in Warden Magnuson. We have Christopher Perrin coming next month, who actually lives in the UK. He's a a forensic psychologist, but he's a real young, cool cat. And now he's into prison abolition work. So he has a different stance. But what he comes in and he's bringing some expertise of the importance of tapping into the peer support, but also the importance of the prison taking accountability to provide those services. Because what the prison is really doing, it's an interesting way to frame it and look at it. What the prison's actually doing is they're overworking a lot of us and they're putting us into these positions to be in the helping field, but they're not providing that actual service themselves, which they're supposed to be doing. So, right. So his take on it, really just talking to him last night, I had a meeting with him last night at 3:30 in the morning, and that was what we threw back and forth with each other. And it's wonderful. And I know anybody that attends this month's awakening is going to have more of an awakening through his knowledge and information. And that's our hope and goal each month, my friend, is we want to bring forth guests that can bring in this knowledge about criminal justice reform, a very, different approaches that we might not have otherwise taken. So I want to bring in these voices that we may not have heard from and provide each and every person that attends an opportunity to listen and to unlock their collective wisdom together. And then through that, we create solutions to heal this system. The other exciting news for anybody that's listening right now, we have a platform being developed. So you'll be able to log on, you'll be able to get a membership. That membership, you'll be able to put your information, all your bio in. There'll be links, like your show will be on there, Cardell. So we're going to have links to different podcasts. We'll have links to different resources that are out there. We're going to be putting together workshops. I think one of the first workshops that we're going to be doing is on nonviolent communication and ways to really utilize that both in the workplace and at home with our families. Right. We're going to provide a support group for women of men that are incarcerated. So a lot of women out there are struggling because their husbands or boyfriends or partners are locked up in the system. They don't have any support. They don't have anybody to talk to. So we're going to provide a space for them to come together and have conversations and support each other. We're going to have coaches from different universities on there to support these women if they need extra help or care. We're also working on a weekly or bi-weekly probably event where past incarcerated residents come together and they can share, they can talk. So the whole exchange will be based on people that have been released that are having struggles and trials and tribulations. Also on that site, and I appreciate the space to talk here on that site, we will have a needs and a give. So there'll be things people can give. Let's say, hey, I can provide I have an extra couch or something if you're getting released. Maybe the ask is, hey, I need help with my college education. I'm trying to get $500 together, or $500 that needs to go to my school. And then what we're going to eventually do, Cardell, through the Awakening, is we're going to provide scholarships for post-secondary education for folks that want to continue on with their education, but they're running into walls where they can't get the funding. Really, the goal, the purpose, and the mission is really to spread. I'll just boil it down for you, my dude. It's to spread love. We come into the system of mass incarceration. We commit a crime. It's usually because we're hurting or we're suffering or we have something going on in our lives, or we haven't been afforded opportunities. So we have to create opportunities by selling drugs or doing other things, criminal activities. And that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. So the hope and the goal of the Awakening is to provide a space where people can come together and give and receive love. Something that we're all in need of right now, especially in this fragmented world.
Right. And I highly recommend, I've been to the last 2 Awakenings. And it was the first time, after we had our conversation, you invited me. This one, the warden was on. And then I was just amazed, just the whole setup of the Awakening coming in, the many different people that was there from the many different fields, but we all had one common goal in line. The exercises, the mind exercises, the meditation exercises, the breakout rooms, just everything. And I highly recommend for those just tuning in to get involved and be a part and come in and join the Awakening family, because we're all in there for the same mission and the same purpose. And we have a lot of people tuning in, them, and so they hear you doing all this, and it's going to be the same question you always get. Same question I had after you telling me everything that you're doing. Same questions other people had, because I've talked to other people and they was like, yeah, I met this guy out of Maine, and I'm like, yeah. So you're doing all this work, and you got the Awakening. You going to doing educating yourself. You running classes. You running programs. The question is, how are you doing this while incarcerated?
That's
Can
a really
you explain
good
explain that to the people?
Well,
hold on, before you go on, Steve, we do have one person asking, how do you sign up for the Awakening?
Thank you. I appreciate that question. There'll be a registration form coming out soon, and if you'd like to drop, I'll put before this call's over, actually, I'll do it right now for you. I'll drop my email into the chat box. If you want to just shoot me an email, I'll put you on to our mailing list. So, and our next Awakening exchange is on the 16th, 3:30 to 5:30 Eastern time. And I welcome each and every one of you to sign up and attend. The website that we're building will have a registration form. I've been working with a lot of the folks that have attended past exchanges. I'm trying to find out, we have operating expenses. We're not trying to get rich off anything. What we're trying to do is create a space that is equitable distribution, where we're paying for the site and we're paying for what needs to be paid for. And there'll probably be a small membership fee, and I'm consulting with folks that have been in past Awakening, so you'll probably be hearing from me if you've been in there. And the question that you just asked, Cardell, I'm at the Maine State Prison, and I'm underneath, I think, some of the most interesting and compassionate leadership that anybody in prison could actually deal with. So Commissioner Randy Liberty, I was here when he came in as the warden, and his father was incarcerated at the Maine State Prison.
Oh, wow.
Right. And because that his father being incarcerated at the Maine State Prison, it's given him an understanding and an idea of what it really means to be in the system of mass incarceration. So the system, when I first got here, there was knives, drugs, you name it, it was going on here. Violence. We have a long mile that we have to walk down to go get our chow. It's like a couple 100 yards to go get chow, and they used to call it the Bloody Mile because that's where all the fights and stabbings and stuff would happen on the way to chow. Now the place has transformed into more of a college campus. Rather than knives or hooch or the drugs, people are carrying college laptop bags around and school books, which is really fascinating. There's gardens, there's a dog program, there's a bee program. And I think that's one part of it. The other part of it is after moving my feet a certain way for the past 16 years, I've worked with over 1,700 people. I've run hundreds and hundreds of groups. I've introduced several programs here into the system of mass incarceration. I've worked with the prison administration to bring forth the recovery coaching program and the Maine state governor, who was actually a Republican, believe it or not, and he helped that program come in. So after years of proving myself, I've also earned a certain level of trust with the administration that they allow me to do these things.
Right.
And I think what's interesting is this: we're mirroring the work of Halden Prison in Norway at the present time. And what we're showing, I live down here, the unit that I'm in right now is called the Earned Living Unit. There's no officer. So we're living, I'm looking at rocking chairs, I'm looking at tables, I'm looking at a kitchenette out there. There's a stove, there's a toaster oven, there's coffee pots. We have Blu-ray DVD players, and we have TVs in our cells, nice TV. We have Wi-Fi internet connection. We have a full gym. We have everything that you could ever imagine. And you'll have people out there that still say, he shouldn't get that. He's in prison. He's supposed to be punished. And what I would just respectfully say to each and every one of those folks out there that feel that way is this. First of all, I want to say I love you. And I'm sorry you feel like any human being should be under those kind of circumstances. I own the choice that I made 18 years ago. I own that. My mental health was out of whack. I was dealing with substance abuse issues. My life was completely, there was no coherence. It was completely incoherent. I own those choices that brought me here to the prison. But I want to say this, and just to awaken your consciousness a little bit, being away from my family, not being able to hold hands and walk on the beach with the person that I love, not being able to hold my niece and nephew or support my brother as my niece and nephew were growing up, not being able to be there for my mom right now, helping my grandmother who has Alzheimer's, not being able to support my mother and give her funds because we make about $1 an hour at the prison. Not being able to do all those things, that is punishment. Me being out of society is my punishment. So you take somebody and you punish them, you put them into a prison system, which is supposed to be corrections. The idea behind corrections is to allow that person an opportunity to transform, to grow, to become a better human being. That way, when they're released, they can function, they're safe, they don't cause and create any more harm or new crimes. So what's happened traditionally in the prison system, where we have a 77% recidivism rate, is people come into prisons, they're punished, they are put into these systems where there's intentional segregation with races. There's gangs. Yeah, right? You've been through that system. The prison system exasperates that, and they feed into that. So they intentionally put people in these certain areas. They feed into it. They create these systems that function. They're broken so they can keep fueling the system that's in place. So the idea of corrections, if you have a car, I want you guys, everybody on this call, just to think about this. If your car is running rough, if your car is, the engine screwed up and you take it into the dealership, you take that car into the dealership, they don't just set the car there and put it up on the lift and let it sit there. They do some work on it. They replace the engine, they take the wires out. I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know what I'm speaking about really right now, but they'll take some nuts and bolts out. They'll replace what needs to be replaced. They'll run diagnostics on it. They'll make sure that it's functioning all right. They'll take it down, and they'll put the car back out on the street Point being is there's work that's done to it. In the traditional prison system, the way it's been functioning for a long period of time, what they're doing is they're taking the car in, they're putting the car up on the lift, and rather than taking anything out and fixing anything, they're like throwing stuff at it. And they're making the car worse. They take the car down, they put it back out on the streets, and they wonder why the car is not running effectively and why it's going to come right back into the shop again.
Yeah, it's going to be bringing it right back. And then the same thing is going to happen to it. Put it on the lift.
Put it on the lift, let it sit there. Yeah. So they're not dummies, the people that are running these systems. They're the majority of these people have high educations. They're very intentional. And the system, that's why I want to just say to everybody on this call, the system in mass incarceration is set up very intentional. So the car comes down, it gets on the streets, it's broken, it comes back, and it fuels that system. Intentional incarceration is you bring the individual in, there's a diagnostics, they look at what's going on with the individual, just like they do with a car. I'm not trying to compare a human being to a car, but I'm trying to make a simple comparison that people understand. Right. There's a diagnostics done. They go through and look at that person. What happened? Is it substance abuse? Is it education? Is it violence? If it was a pedophile, because pedophiles come in and out of the system, or is it a sex offense? There's obviously something going wrong with the person. Or it was the person stealing. Why were they stealing? Are they poor, or did they need money to support their family? They do that diagnostics when the person comes in, and then what they do is they provide intentional incarceration where they allow that person to heal. And through that healing, the person has that awakening. They find inner peace. They find, okay, these are the causes and conditions that brought me in here in the first place. So when they're released, they have an opportunity to actually succeed and flourish in life.
Right. Exactly. And that's the main thing to me that should be inside the institutions, those type of programs and ability to grow.
That's right.
Ability to elevate yourself, creating a mindset shift through education. I remember back, like I was incarcerated in Missouri in the state. So I remember when they took out the programs, when they couldn't let you get degrees and stuff like that. Like they literally came in and took out majority of the programs, and nobody had nothing to do with their time. And next thing you know, the yard is just off the chain, fights, stabbings, and everything else because nobody was doing nothing with their time, for one. And then they wasn't getting no kind of education or no type of thing that was pushing them to grow or deal with any issues that they may deal with that led to them getting incarcerated. So them issues wasn't getting addressed as well. I think what Maine is doing and what y'all set the narrative, even though you may have modeled it from Norway, I think you all set the narrative for things to come as far as prisons, for the programming and everything in total. I think you all has changed the narrative and is at the forefront of this big change.
That's right. That's right. So let's talk about this. And I talk about this on the past exchange. I just want to say this really quickly, name it. And I'd like to just give you a little bit of a metaphor and then open up if anybody that listen to this call has any questions. So a couple things come to mind. So you have the 4-minute mile. Nobody ever imagined anybody could run a mile faster than 6 minutes at one point in time, I'm sure. And then you have somebody that breaks that into the 5-minute mile. And then you have the 4-minute mile, right? They're like, nobody will ever run a mile in 4 minutes. Fair enough?
Right. Yeah, that's what they use.
So what happens is the 4-minute mile is actually run, and now it broadens people's consciousness so they know it's possible. So I think when that finally happened, people realized, holy cow, it is possible to run a 4-minute mile. So what that does is now I'm online right now, right? And I'm doing my college classes and I'm staying in my lane. I'm staying in my boundaries. I'm making connections all over the world. I'm making friends with some of the leading professionals in their fields. We are building this community of people that's full of what I call bodhisattvas, or heart compassionate led people that want to create changes in the world. Now what we're showing is it is possible. So there's still, this is what disgusts me a little bit. There's still prisons where there's a prison guard on a horse with a shotgun, while our brothers and sisters are in the field still picking cotton for 10 cents an hour. What does that say about our country? What does that say about our system overall? And what does that say about us as a collective society? Because we're allowing that to go on. So my passion, my goal in my heart right now, I just want to say this to everybody on the call, and please get on board with this. My passion is to bring forth what's actually going forward, and we gain and get enough of us together where we can create policy changes. We can create changes by awakening each other to what is possible within the system of mass incarceration. In 1967, when those two gentlemen, this is a little bit out there, but stay with me. Stay tuned just for a second. In 1967, when those two gentlemen, they videotaped what is known as Bigfoot, right? They videotaped what is known as Bigfoot, and what happened? Now you have people that are in the woods hunting Bigfoot. You have Bigfoot being, this is a real thing. This is a
Right,
this is a real, you laugh, but Bigfoot's a real thing now.
Right.
And I'm saying this with my heart of hearts. There's people, they study, listen, there's schools that study cryptozoology. Bigfoot was put into existence, right? Talked into existence, and that's our conscious, that's a piece of art. Anything we think of, the mind is such a beautiful, it's plastic, right? We have neuroplasticity in our brains, and if we really got into brain science, you know this through the reticular activating system. So you bring something to your consciousness, the reticular activating system, and you start thinking of like a gray Jeep. You're going to buy a gray Jeep. Next thing you know, you'll start seeing gray Jeeps everywhere.
You're gonna see them everywhere. Yeah, you'll see them everywhere.
Everywhere. So you start bringing forth into your mindset what's possible with, and if we do this in a way that's strategic, marketing does this all the time. Pepsi Cola does it. These folks that put commercials out there, the Super Bowls, they are notorious for programming your reticular activating system for you. Mm-hmm. What our position and our goal is, and what we're doing with the awakening, is we provide an opportunity for folks to see that there is possibilities in the system of mass incarceration. We do that with our hearts and souls, and then we show it works. So I have a responsibility. My friend Leo upstairs has a responsibility. We stay in our lanes with what we're doing. We open up opportunities for other incarcerated residents. And then what we do in the long run is we're healing the system. We're showing other people that 4-minute mile can actually be run. You feel me?
Exactly.
So, I want to say to everybody on the call, I really appreciate everybody. I'd like to, does anybody have a question that's out there, maybe that's listening right now, or anybody have any thoughts they'd like to share? Or I'm going to go ahead and just sit here for a moment. So amazing podcast to listen to. I have 3 sons who are all incarcerated. My youngest is still in prison. God bless him, my friend, and has been there since 2013. My eldest son got out and went back in. My middle son is now, let me see.
I'm the only one out.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know what to do. I keep trying to make him happy, but nothing I do is working. At times I'm frightened because his moods are unpredictable. Absolutely and positively. And I want to just say to you, Sheila, my heart, and I know Cardell, I know how you feel about this. After speaking to you, our hearts are with you, because we know the trials and tribulations that we go through. And it sounds like to me, I don't know your son. I'd love to talk to him. I'm sure Cardell would love to talk to him too. It sounds like really what's needed is he probably just needs some support, more support around him. He needs some, I don't know, and I'm not trying to make any assumptions here. One of my challenges that I dealt with is I grew up in a broken home. My dad wasn't around. My mom was working her butt off to try to take care of my brother and I. So we really didn't have the mentorship or the guidance that we needed. That was just part of the gig, right? And I was really missing, and I know I've heard you say this before, Cardell, I was really missing what an adult male role model would do for me. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
something that's going on with your son, Sheila, but for me, it was
Yeah.
really, I really needed some more love and support around me. Instead, I had people that really put me down, and they mistreated, and they didn't understand me because they didn't understand the trauma that I had gone through and what I was dealing with in my life. So we're here for your son. I just want to let you know that, Sheila. If there's anywhere we can be of assistance, please reach out to us. Ashley, as you know, I work with formerly incarcerated students at a community college. What do you think we need to be mindful of and make sure to implement in our program? What type of resources support professional development, et cetera? Ashley, this is a really, really good question.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say it's a really good question for a multitude of reasons. What I want to say to you is don't try to do it all alone. You want to get as many stakeholders as you can. You want to onboard as many people as you can from the very get-go. You want to include those that you're working for and those that you're serving in the conversation. And you want to bring everybody together. I just see the more of us that are coming together because we all have our own answers within us, and we might learn something from each other that we might not have learned otherwise. And then Vanessa, I want to say thank you, Stephen and Cardell. I just got off the phone with my cousin who's serving life, telling him about this. He goes up to the parole board next month. Yeah, well, our hearts are with him. Cardell, you want to just jump in for 1 second? I'm gonna
Go ahead.
grab a battery charger here.
Okay. So yeah, I appreciate the questions, and we appreciate the questions and answers. The reentry, we offer, and even in all situations with the questions that was asked earlier, we understand. Like with me, I offer my mentorship because when I got out of prison, I didn't really have no reentry mentors or no one that was going through what I went through, and to guide me and be at a certain place. So I always offer that mentorship to those that's incarcerated and those that come home, because a lot of times they don't know. Getting out of prison, we don't know how to navigate the way it is, because for so long it wasn't resources available like there are now. Reentry is just now becoming to us who's been in it, it's always been a big deal. For anybody who's been incarcerated, had loved ones, family members incarcerated, reentry, second chance has always been a big deal to us. But to society as a whole and the norm, reentry and it is just really starting to be a thing that people are starting to grasp and really putting the energy to understand, to get a second a look on how to do things, because obviously the way that the things that's been getting done hasn't been the answer, and we need to change the narrative and we need something new. So I'm always here for those who's having sons, brothers, family, friends that's incarcerated and looking for that mentorship. I'm always available for mentorship. I'm always there to help guide, to reach out, just to have a conversation. And if you don't have the connection with me, just like Stephen said, this is the importance of the network, because not one person it's not a one person it's not a one person get it all done thing. Like, we need a whole community, so that way we have the people in places and the resources in places on deck for those when they getting ready to come out, and they be able to get that help prior to them getting out. Like, I work on the inside. My reentry academy is called On the Inside Reentry Academy. I'll go in, and because I know for a fact reentry starts on the inside of prison and himself. So when you got people like me that's coming in on the inside working, you got people like and mentors like Stephen that's on the inside working, and we got a collective whole, his network, my network, and we're all working together, man. This is the best thing this is happening right now.
Yeah, I just want to drop an anchor right there too for you and for everybody else on this. It's not my network and it's not your network. It's our network.
Exactly.
So that's I think moving forward, it's like we get so caught up in mine and yours and this and that. I really believe in my heart of hearts, we all of us that are on this call, all of us that attend these awakenings, all of us that are involved with you, Cardell, all of us that are involved with anything that any of us are doing, we need to come together as a collective voice and a collective consciousness. And then what we do is we awaken other people as to what's possible. And we build this, we build a heartbeat, and we keep bringing more and more people together. And that way, if we have somebody that is struggling out there, we have more of us to surround that person. Or we have somebody that's getting, I've talked to several of you that have been released from prison, and you've gone through trials and tribulations, and it's hard being released. There's a lot of anxiety. They usually release us with no money. We have $50 in a bus ticket. That's usually the story that I hear, right?
Yeah.
$50 in a bus ticket. So these are the things that we really need to wrap our heads around. One of the cool things in Maine, we just got approved to get jobs while we're incarcerated.
I was going to ask you to bring that up. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I spent 2 years researching and looking at the different areas of really what are the main factors of recidivism, people getting out and coming back. So, and what do we need to have in place when a person comes into the system of mass incarceration to really safeguard from them recidivating? So substance abuse, mental health treatment, right? And a strong reentry plan from day one. I don't care if you're serving a 1-day sentence or a life sentence. I think a reentry plan's still in place because miracles happen and people still get released.
Exactly.
The second thing we need in place is education. Education reduces recidivism by 43 to 48%, depending on where you look, and that's for an associate and bachelor's degree. If you earn a master's degree, that drops significantly down to like 3 to 5%. And then if you earn a PhD, I don't think there's enough people out there to have the statistics and the numbers. So that's 2. Number 3 is family support. Not only family support, but support with the broader community. So having good relationships with people that are not into the criminal lifestyle, that aren't going to drag you back into the mud when you're released, people that are going to support you, hold you up. This could be churches. This could be, people that are involved with different this could be college professors. This could be friends on the outside that are involved with networks. This could be Cardell Sims Reentry Network. This could be the Awakening. So getting involved with good people, that's number 3. And number 4 is a job. We come into the system of mass incarceration. We owe fines, we owe restitution, we owe child support. We have kids and families that are out there. And we also want to save when we get released, making phone calls in prison. In some states, it's free now, but in Maine, it's still not. To buy a bar of soap, it's marked up, sometimes 200, 300%.
1,000%. Sometimes it feels like.
Yeah. To buy a bag of quarter pound of coffee, dried freeze coffee, is almost $5, right? So to be able to be successful, jobs are a huge part of that. So what's going on, and I think everybody on this call can relate to this, is people go through the system of mass incarceration. We're restricted. It's, for lack of a better word, it's a shit show being incarcerated, really. We get out, we don't want to go into a homeless shelter. We don't want to go into a recovery house. People say that's the best thing that can happen for you. Well, maybe for some people. I don't want to take that away. But the last thing I want to do when I get out of here is to go into a recovery house where people are sneaking and using drugs, where there's still a lot of unsavory behaviors going on. I want to be around champions. Steel sharpens steel. I want to be around other people that are thriving and surviving out there, that are getting it done. I want to be around you, Cardell. I want to be around other people that are on this call. I don't want to go and be jacked up in a place that's going to put me in a bad environment. So what would be the solution for that? So if we provided incarcerated residents jobs where they can pay their child support, they can maintain their driver's license, they can take care of their restitution, and they can save money for transportation, for a place to live, and it gives them a little bit of a nest egg, because you don't want to get out of here after serving 10, 20, 30 years and go right to work. You need to decompress a little bit. I think you should go on a freaking retreat somewhere for a little bit. And to do that, you need money. You really need money. And jobs, it builds self-confidence. It allows people to feel connected to the world. It gives self-esteem. It causes the broaden and build the theory of positive emotions to happen. And it also provides a person hope. We need hope. Being in the system of mass incarceration, we need hope. Without hope, we're doomed. So for me, it's a game changer to be able to earn money and help my mom, to be able to earn money and pay for my own PhD, to be able to have a position where I feel like I'm giving back to the world. That's really important. That's important for all of us. I don't care if you're in prison or out of prison. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? The number one is what? It's our physical needs. So our physical needs are met in prison, right? Food, water, shelter, 3 hots and a cot. We got them. Safety, yeah. Well, the safety needs are met. You got officers everywhere. They're patrolling. You're pretty safe unless you're really in a real rugged, rough prison, which there are many of them. So that's the second one. And then the third one is what? Your social needs, right?
Social needs, yeah.
So your social needs, I think, are really, really important. We can get some of that in prisons, but I was just saying this on the call last night to the professor in the UK. If my consciousness, if the only level of consciousness that I'm getting, or the only people I'm interacting with are people in the system, that's where I'm going to stay.
Right.
I need to tap in. I really do. I need to tap into a greater system of knowledge, understanding, and wisdom in order to thrive, in order to be better. So you got the social needs. That's why a job and that's why technology is important. That builds esteem. So we all know esteem, like when you're feeling good about yourself, you're looking good, you're walking around. Shit, I'd say 85 to 90% people in prisons have low self-esteem. And it's the way they treat us. You wake up in the morning being screamed at. Come on, that doesn't build self-esteem. You get paid 10 cents an hour picking cotton while there's an officer strolling around on a horse with a gun. That doesn't build self-esteem. You go into the gym, you get a little bit buff. Okay, you're probably a little bit buff. That builds some self-esteem. But you know what? The majority of those big dudes in the gym that are in there all day long lifting weights, inside they're dying. They're dying inside. That's all. It's the big ego walking around. Inside they're dying to have somebody to connect with or feel like they're loved or supported. And then finally, self-actualization, where your hopes and dreams are coming together. My hopes and dreams aren't coming together making 10 cents an hour. I'm sorry.
No, that ain't. No, sure ain't.
I'm sorry.
Nah, that ain't gonna happen. That's definitely not gonna happen.
So point being, my good friend, is with jobs, we really can. We can start making a decent living. And unfortunately, and I say this, by the grace of Source, by the grace of God, Mother Earth, Buddha, Jesus, Allah, whatever you want to call it, connection to divinity, connection to the divine. Fortunately, I've been in a space where I've been able to self-transcend. So if you think of Plato's allegory of a cave, they're all shackled. They're looking at the shadows on the wall. Finally, one of these guys realized, holy cow, I can take the shackles off. And he travels around. He's like, oh, the figures on the wall, those are shadows. There's a fire behind us that's causing that. And then he wanders up into enlightenment, into the sun, and he sees this whole new world. And to me, that is a perfect metaphor and a perfect way to identify education and what's going on with a lot of us, because we're in the cave, we're in prison, and all we're doing is we're identifying with other people, looking at the ignorance, the shadows on the wall, talking about drugs, women, fighting, the same. We call it blue chair chatter, right? They're in the chairs, same thing over and over.
We call up in Missouri, we call it kicking the bobo.
Kicking the bobo. Yeah. Well, whatever we call it. So that's what it is. That's 90% of the conversations in here, and that's not getting anybody anywhere. So you come back in and you let people know, you're like, hey, so we participated. We've all been guilty of that before, but we realize there's a better way. And that better way is coming up into enlightenment, which I believe in essence is jobs, is technology, is connecting with the broader society. We see that broader society around. We say, holy Moses, this is doing a great number for my own personal transformation. And then what we do is we go back down into the cave and we let our brothers and sisters know, hey, there's a better way. There's this, and this. A lot of them want to kill us. First of all, I just say that. That's the truth, because they see you doing better. They hate on you. They say, what do you know how the system goes. There's a majority of people, you know what they say about crabs in the bucket. They're always reaching up
Yeah,
to
they always reaching up to break it down.
pull you back down again, right? So it takes a lot of, I respect you, Cardell, because you know that it takes a lot of resiliency to be in a system like we're in and stay the course, because they put so many barriers and obstacles in our way to succeed. They 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 shit on you. They really
Yeah.
do. They see you less than. They don't want you self-empowered. They don't want you to feel like you have any power or you have any inferiority, because it's a security risk. And these are the people that are doing it to us. They're doing the same thing to us. So I really believe we need more of us that realize, hey, we've been looking at these shadows on the wall for a long period of time. There's a better way. There's a broader society up here. Follow me. Let me show you. Let me show you the way out of here, and let me help you. And I love that story about the guy in the hole. You heard that, Cardell?
Nuh-uh, the guy in the hole. Go ahead, I can hear that one.
So there's a guy in a hole, and he's screaming for help. He's saying, help, help, help. And a doctor comes by. He looks down in the hole. He writes the guy a prescription. He throws it in the hole and walks off. The guy's still in the hole. The guy's screaming, help, 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 help. A millionaire walks by. He sees the guy in the hole. He hears him. He takes $100,000. He throws it down in the hole. The guy's got $100,000, but he's still in the hole. He's screaming, help, 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 help. Next thing you know, next guy walks up. He jumps down in the hole. The guy in the hole said, what are you doing? You're crazy. I've been screaming for help to get out of here. The guy that jumps down in the hole says, I understand. I love you. I've been in this hole before. I jumped down in here with you to show you how to get out. And I think that's the work, that's why I admire you, and I admire a lot of people on this call that are previously incarcerated, and even the folks that weren't incarcerated that just keep going into the trenches, because that's really what we're doing. We're jumping down in the hole to help each other out, to love each other back up into the light, and to allow each other to have our own awakening. And I just want to say, I know we're getting close to time here, Cardell. I just want to say I really respect you. I know you're doing the 100-person. Anybody on this call that doesn't know, I'd like you just to know this, because Cardell's become a friend of mine. Cardell's doing 100-person or 100 prison tour, where he's going to be going across the country, visiting prisons, talking about things like the reticular activating system, talking about vision, setting goals, his experience with incarceration, rehabilitation, and reentry, sharing experience, strength, and hope, going prison to prison, passing out books that he's authored himself, by the way, that's really put him in the reentry. It put him right in the reentry marketplace, and it showed that he's actually a player in the reentry game, because he really is. And he's taking his time. A man wakes up with a vision and a hit, what I call downloads. He has this vision to go across the country to go spread his love and his mission. So I'd like to share that with everybody on here. I'd encourage you to look at Cardell's website and look at the work he's doing. And I think he just set up a GoFundMe page. Even get involved if you can. Even a little bit of cash would help to get him across the country, because I wouldn't be on this podcast right now if I didn't believe in Cardell. I've had enough conversations to know that he's operating from that place on the left side of his chest, what we call the heart. And, I have a lot of love for you, brother. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well. Yeah, I'm really excited about the tour, man. I think it's needed. I think it changes the narrative. With me doing that, even though I've already been jumping back in the hole, I think this is jumping in the hole nationwide, and not just where I'm at. I think it's much needed. I think our stories, our resilience, our light, our hope will inspire a lot of those in the reentry field. Those incarcerated, most definitely, to see what we're doing, to see that we're formerly incarcerated, to see that I've gone through the struggles that they're going through. I've been through the paying the child support. and your child support taking half of your check, and how do you budget your money, and not trying to keep up with the Joneses, and these things that could lead you back because you're trying to do this. And so to be able to go and take my experiences and me being in and out of prison from in juvenile detention center and foster homes from the age of 15 to 39, I think me going in there and to show them the hope, that's the most important thing. To come in there with a team full of successful formerly incarcerated educators, to come in there and provide this hope, to say, you know what, if you do this, if you reprogram your reticular, you don't know what it is, this is what it is. If you reprogram this and started focus on things and painting the picture of things that's more relevant to you, life will begin to change for you. You start learning how to set goals or build a vision board. You're trying to be an entrepreneur. We understand that getting out of prison, like you said, and working in the factory and stuff, it's not for everybody. We have entrepreneurs, so to understand how to transition and do that, to budget your money, understanding your mental health and wellness, and this is the major factor in your reentry, to be able to sit down, have a counselor, a therapist, and be able to talk with someone and find the answers to some of the things that you've been going through that led you to prison that you didn't deal with while in prison, to going inside 100 institutions and spread this love, this knowledge, and most definitely that hope, man. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm happy and everything. I will be posting a GoFundMe link. We have a GoFundMe link, a Twitch link as well. We you know me, man. I just want to make an impact. I want to walk in there and say, look, if I could do it, you most definitely could do it, because this is what I've been doing in and out of prison. I've been to prison 5 times, you know what I'm saying? So if I could do it, most definitely you can do it. And that's what it's all about, to go in there and showing that hope and saying, don't kill that belief because you formerly incarcerated, or because you're sitting in the prison, or because you got this conviction. Kill that belief that it's going to hold you back. We got a full team. The team is a representation of all of us together, our network. What we say, our network. So that team represents our network. This is what you can do, and this is what you get when you get out here. Our network, and we all over the place, and we're here to help you push it. So I'm really excited about that. I know we're getting close. Go ahead.
I just want to say, I just got on the LinkedIn page here. I've been on this SteamYard. And I'm looking, I see Donna, I see Carla, I see Ashley, I see Vanessa, Robert, I see April from earlier. I just want to say to each and every one of you, I really love you, and I really, really appreciate all the support that you're giving us. You are really the ones that we need to be tipping our hats to, because you're the ones that are out there. You're doing this work as well. I see you. I hear you, and I feel each and every one of you, because I can relate to you. And I've seen you on these calls. I've heard you on the Awakening calls. I've had an opportunity to get to know each and every one of you a little bit more personally. And I just want to say it's a real blessing and a gift that you're all doing this work with us. And it's not, by any means, I don't think Cardell and I are on any pedestal whatsoever. All we're doing is utilizing the skills and the talents that God has given us to be able to put everything back into action, and call it source, spirit, whatever you want, the universe. We're just using the gifts that the universe has given us to put things into action. And each and every one of you on this call is doing the same thing. So from the bottom of my heart, I just really, really deeply want to say thank each and every one of you for the support that you're giving us, and the support that you're actually fostering, and the way that you're helping us grow the Awakening program. And Cardell, I just want to say to you, my good friend, it's really a blessing to now have you on board with the Awakening team, and have you on board with the work that we're doing. I see you showing up at these exchanges now. And I'm super, super grateful that, as we build this thing, and as we build out and make it a little bit bigger and bring in and incorporate more people, all of you are involved with this. Each and every one of you on this call, you're involved. And I just feel really, really grateful. We have such a community, and we have a safe space to come together and really be able to open up and do the work that we're doing, because it's definitely not an individual approach. This is a collective approach. And to make change, we need to keep it a collective approach and a collaborative approach. So much love and much appreciation to each and every one of you.
And so, this is the question I ask everyone that comes to my podcast. It's always the last questions that I ask, and I'm really eager to hear your answer on this. If you have one word to describe this journey, where you at right now to this point, what would that one word be and why?
I think the one word that I would use where I'm at in this journey is love. And I'm going to choose the word love because if we don't have love and love is not in what we're doing, I'm curious what the root of it is. It's either greed or it's ego or it's, it's for the wrong reasons. So love, if we're doing things from our heart, it's like falling in love. I've fallen in love with this work. And I just want my heart to lead me with this work, and I want it to keep leading me because I know if proper conduct fears no exposure. If you're doing the right thing, it's never the wrong thing. And love, I'll tell you, God is love, right? Everybody heard that before? God is love. So if I'm operating from a place of love, I'm operating from a place of enthusiasm. And any of you on this call, in case you don't know this, enthusiasm, if you break that word down, E-N is actually I-N. Thus, believe it or not, is God. So when you're enthusiastic about something, you're in God. And when you're in God, you're in love. So isn't that amazing? Like you're in love with what you're doing. You're in God with it. And I really like that for a lot of different reasons. And I'm in love, man. I'm in love with the work that we're doing here, Cardell. I'm in love with all of you. I'm grounded in love, man. And it seems like love has gotten me a lot farther than hate, a lot farther than greed, a lot further than ego, a lot further than anything else. And that's where I want to continue to operate.
There you have it, operating out of love. Stephen, man, I'd like to thank you for coming to the reentry journey, sharing the work, your story, and your vision with us. You always know I'm on board on the movement. Me and you, we had several talks since we've been getting to know each other. I appreciate your mentorship. I appreciate your knowledge. I appreciate your guidance in the conversation that we have. And I look forward to continuing that relationship with you as well as we build and grow with everyone else in our network and begin to change and not begin, but continue to change the narratives that we're changing. Thank you for being a guest on the reentry journey. Feel free anytime that any one of us can help you out in any kind of way, reach out to us. You got my email address, and also let the people know if they want to be a part and want to be involved in the Awakening Exchange, let them know how they can be involved with that before we go.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for asking for help as well. The idea with help moving forward with my PhD degree, I have to rely on support and help of other people in the community. Fortunately, I'm connected to a lot of consultants, and I'm connected to a lot of people that do coaching and a lot of different work and a lot of scholars. So we've been able to put together some money. It starts in the summer, and to move forward with the program that I'm in, it's going to be about $60,000. I have some money of my own saved from the $1 an hour that I make here. I've been stacking my dollars up.
Right.
But I have a GoFundMe page for the PhD work, and that was set up. I can't do that. My good friend and my best friend set that up for me. I'll put that in the chat room. If anybody would like to share that with folks or put that out there, that would be very, very helpful for the cause and for the work that we're actually doing. I'd appreciate it, and it really would mean the world to me. And I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you again. I appreciate you traveling this journey with us. It's not with me, it's with us, because we're doing this together. And I am super excited for the Awakening Exchange that's going to be happening on the 16th. The information, I had the conversation with Mr. Pearing last night, and he actually hooked us up with Shad Maruna. Shad Maruna is a researcher that has done a lot with social justice, with social fabrics, with narrative change. So we've got the biggest players in the game involved right now, and that information will be posted on my LinkedIn in the next couple days. If you are in the mailing network, you'll be receiving an email from me directly about registering and signing up. We have some slots still available. I think we have 8 people right now on the leadership team that we've accepted their applications. So we have 12 slots still available for our leadership team that we'll be putting together. And we would really appreciate you if you'd like to come in and get a little bit of background, just a little bit of background training in what we do and how we put together these exchanges. And it builds our collective consciousness as well. We'd invite you to be on our leadership team. And yeah, any questions, feel free to contact me anytime. You have my email now. It was in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer your questions or meet with you later on if I have the time. And let's just keep moving forward. You know, you're all beautiful. And I just want to say, I got to say, acknowledge a few people too. You know, we have sponsors, and my sponsors are Exchange Approach, Sutra, that has really been supportive in helping with a website and the web design to get this membership site launched. And I'd also like to thank the Glen Exchange, who has been super, super supportive. Unified Mindfulness, Shinzin Young, who's a very good and dear friend of mine, and the Heart Math Institute. There's more and more folks that I'm meeting that are associated with Heart Math. They're stepping forward. They're providing help at our exchanges. So I just want to thank everyone, and I appreciate all of you here today.
Thanks a lot, Stephen. And there you have it. We have another episode of the Reentry Journey. Thanks for everyone that's tuned in. Feel free to reach out to me or Stephen. We're always willing to connect, open up, and expand our network, and be the mentors that we are. Steve, once again, thanks a lot for you coming on. Everyone, thanks a lot for you tuning in. This is another episode of the Reentry Journey. Until the next time, my message is manifest your vision and be the boss of your mission. Own your tomorrow. I'm Cardell Sims, and we are out. The Reentry Journey.
600,000 prisoners are released from prison every year. And all we talk about is the recidivism rate, highlighting failures. But this is a new time now. It's time to celebrate. Time to admire. Time to honor those who got out of prison and never looked back. Doing something with themselves and their lives while giving back.